Welcome everybody to a new series that I want to do, which is to sort of study from artists that I have collected some art books from. And so the first person that we will be looking at would be an artist by the name Dibujante Nocturno, which is, I believe, a Spanish artist. So compared to other videos where they would like flip through the pages, which I will link another video which might be shorter. I'm not sure how this video will be, how long would this video be, but I want to focus on the study and to learn from this person. So I won't be going through all the pages, just the main pages that I'll be focusing on when it comes to learning. So if you want to see more pages, there will be another video in the description. And here, just showing the contents, and if there's anything that interests you that you would like to see in this book, which of course is published by 3D Toto. Really like the kinds of books that they are publishing, and do own quite a lot of books, maybe too many, but really want to start studying. So we will start with this artist in particular because of his sort of amazing monster designs and dragons as well. First off, when sort of looking at very established artists, it is a great inspirational thing to see where they have started, to sort of see how the kinds of artwork that they have created when they first started out. And here is back in 2005, and he seemed to be a self-taught artist as well, which is another source of inspiration that one does not exactly need to go through the usual university degree. And here, just around 5 years later, we can see a very big improvement in art quality. So now at the inspiration and imagination, the reason why I want to point this out is he lists off a lot of other great artists that will be great to research. For if we, or I really like this artist in particular, if he is naming another great artist that he finds inspirations from, it is fair to say that I should sort of look them up as well. So he lists a lot of names here that I will zoom in for you to see. One that stood out, it would be Frank Frazetta, that I know, but a lot of these other names I don't really recognize, and I will try to research later. But in the next paragraph, he talks about an artist that is a big inspiration for him, which is an illustrator and concept artist by the name Keki Kotaki. And an interesting thing when researching this artist in particular is you will start to see a very close connection between his art and this other artist, Kekai Kotaki. And I will sort of cut to another scene where I will show the other artist's artwork. And so here we are at Kekai Kotaki website, and at one of his galleries. I think this was for Guild Wars, but if we go to his personal gallery, one thing that we will see for sure that is quite similar would be the Mermaid Design, and we'll have to wait for it to load a little bit, but I do have a window already open. So this kind of mermaid design with the long tail does seem quite similar and inspired, and we can see sort of how this artwork has inspired the other artist to create his style of mermaids. And here's another scene of a large dragon, and sort of the way that the scales and the head itself is being sketched. There's sort of some inspirations coming through. And this one, it would be something that I now get to learn this new artist that I've never heard before, and then see sort of this new concept design that I personally am inspired from and want to sort of learn more and then be able to replicate. And a few more concept design that I kind of like, that I want to learn from as well. And then back again to sort of the mythical dragon, that we sort of see a connection and sort of the inspirational connection. So here we come to the behind the scenes to see his process of creating his artwork. So for him, he would start off with a sketchbook and would use a ballpoint pen, which I have never really used before. Usually I would just sketch with a regular pencil, and usually I would use larger leads, and then I am still working with brush ink and other black ink, but not a ballpoint pen, which I'm still debating whether should I go the extra step to use a ballpoint pen just like he does. And it's just a very great illustration again, that he shares that he is quite faithful to the sketches that he creates. A funny note when looking through the book is how his sketchbook is quite small, and his recommendation is a very cheap sketchbook to be able to draw on, though with the publishing it's quite a big difference, let's say. Not to complain, but a little bit funny to see the comparison, which of course the study would be done in the sketchbook that is part of the Kickstarter that I see is only fitting. Up next he would do watercoloring as well, it seems, and of course he does sort of black ink as well. I'm not sure if I want to dive into watercolor just yet. It feels a little bit too daunting, at least for me, and I want to sort of still focus on the line art aspect and the more creative process, and work on my color skills at a later date. Then it comes to the digital tools, where I'm still have to read through again whether he brings his sketch into, and here comes the digital stage where he brings his sketch work into the computer and then puts it through its final stages of drawing, painting, and what artist does. And here it talks about measuring line art, the thicker lines at areas of interest. Very useful sort of thing to remind ourselves again when drawing. Sometimes we would forget. And then mastering texture, since using a ballpoint pen would normally use a lot of textures that we can sort of see here in the comparisons, that would gives form. And he talks about using a ballpoint pen to also help with shading, that you can control the weight, which I have sort of done a little bit in the past, though it's quite difficult to control. And here's a great sort of showcase of workflows from sort of his sketches, rough sketch, into, and I think this would be maybe the watercolor in the sketchbook up to its sort of final form, and this might be a more digitized workflow. More sketches again, that it doesn't have to be the most beautiful, that some people would show off their sort of sketchbook that is very finalized art, but this is just getting the shapes down and then refining it through more layers, like in Photoshop. So here it goes through another time of the sketching process where it's rough, and then he goes into the details the second time in step 2. and in this case he used 100 opacity brush and then used the pen pressure on the digital tablet to have a variety of line weight. So I'm still debating on how far I would want to go with this shading, since it's not entirely a style that I am looking to recreate. My inspiration mainly comes from creating sort of these very fantastic creatures first and foremost, and the design aspects. So I might take some liberties on the shading and light and shadow when it comes to my own artwork, though the color palette and then the details will still be very useful to learn from. So that will be the end of sort of my look over and plans for to study from this artist. And with the sort of sketchbook, the idea would be that it will be one main artwork here, and then the study to create the artwork and maybe thumbnails on the other side. So if you want to see sort of my art process, journey, journal, blog, whatever it might be, just be sure to subscribe, and then I will see you all next time. Bye for now.